crowds are out in full force on Bourbon Street celebrating the unimaginable. The Saints have won Super Bowl 44.
Good evening, I'm Dennis Woltering.
And I'm Angela Hill. The New Orleans Saints have made history tonight, winning the franchise's first Super Bowl ever.
They beat the Indianapolis Colts 31-17. Bigad Shaban is live from Arno's balcony on Bourbon Street, and it has to be a wild scene out there, huh, Bigad? Bigad, can you hear us?
Dennis and Angela, the Saints have won the Super Bowl, and the fans have come marching in, packing Bourbon Street to the brim. There is no space for anything other than happiness, enthusiasm, and a lot of magic here on Bourbon. It is just remarkable what we're seeing right now. Every crevice of Bourbon Street packed to the brim. We're seeing strangers hugging strangers, families embracing, people in tears, rejoicing on just how special this moment is. Clearly not just a win for the Saints, but a win for the entire city of New Orleans. And you can feel the energy here tonight. People throwing beads, people just with a smile on their face that I'd imagine will not fade anytime soon. This is a moment that this city has been waiting for 43 years, and I can guarantee you the magic of tonight will not fade anytime soon. Just really a remarkable sight here in the French Quarter from on top of Arno's balcony, live here in the French Quarter. We'll send it back to you, Dennis and Angela.
And Bigad, the streets were empty. Was this like the NFC Championship game where the streets were empty, and then when the team won, everyone just surged out into the streets?
You know, it's a little different than last time, Dennis. Last time I remember it being completely bare and then just people running out. But actually, people started running out on the streets tonight earlier on in the game when it became clear to a lot of people that the Saints were going to win. And they were rejoicing probably about 15 minutes before the game actually ended. People waving flags, people just screaming, dancing. We even saw the second line coming down Bourbon Street with a marching band. People just holding hands, complete strangers, just dancing in the streets. That's how we celebrated in New Orleans, and we certainly saw that tonight.
From that interception on, I bet that's what it was all about. In the streets, we won, and we won big.
It was like that in the newsroom. People were jumping up and down and screaming and hugging and going crazy. It was unbelievable.
It is crazy all over town.
Absolutely.
And Scott Satchfield is live from Lucy's Retired Surfers Bar in the Warehouse. Scott.
Obviously, the scene speaks for itself here in the Warehouse District. It's really been a crazy night all evening long, but obviously, once this one was in the books, fans here absolutely erupted. Police had to block off the streets here on Tchoupitoulas, and you can see why. People are elated. Disbelief is the word that I would go with right now. Disbelief and jubilation. I'll just let this go for a second. Throughout the evening here at Lucy's bar here in the Warehouse District, basically folks inside, outside, you can see they projected the game on a big screen outside. It's basically a huge block party that just got quite a bit bigger. And folks here, we've seen tears, we've obviously seen a lot of cheering, police officers high-fiving fans, and again, people just in disbelief. Again, it's tough for me to hear you guys, so for now, I'm going to send it back to the studio.
Don't worry about ever hearing us. Let me tell you, the people are screaming throughout this state.
Absolutely.
It isn't just,
people are driving around honking horns. It's just people can't express themselves enough. That's the kind of thing
it is. It isn't just here. I talked to my sister who lives in Kingsville, Texas. She was crying. Guy in Ohio calls. He's crying.
We got a text from Doug Mouton, crying like a baby.
Good.
A lot of people are doing that. Paul Murphy live from the Zulu Social Aid and Pleasure Club. I imagine it's pretty wild out there too, Paul, huh?
Dennis and Angela, the atmosphere is electric here at the corner of Orleans and Broad Street. The members of Zulu cheered from the opening coin toss all the way to that Tracy Porter interception. Joining me, King Zulu 2010, Mr. Jimmy Felder. Talk about the atmosphere here at Zulu. How important this is to Zulu?
This is super great. I couldn't ask for something to happen to me in my life at this point in time. King of Zulu 2010, winning the Super Bowl in 2010. This is awesome, man. I am telling you, I am so excited. As you can see the fans behind me, we are ready to roll Mardi Gras. I know the Saints are going to have their party parade Tuesday, But come this Mardi Gras Day, we're ready.
Now you're going to have some of the Saints players rolling in Zulu, I understand.
Yes, we will. We're going to have Deuce McAllister, Lance Moore, Derek Henderson, Marcus Colston, and one other we're going to have at the game. And they're going to be riding in our parade this morning.
And take a look at some of the throws that you can catch in Zulu this year. It's a special Super Bowl, black and gold Super Bowl football that you could be a lucky person to catch in the parades. Also, they have these coconuts, black and gold coconuts.
Yeah.
What'd you think of the game?
I think it was a beautiful game. Well played by the Saints. Because they figured the Saints was not going to win it. They had all the faith in Peyton Manning, but the world had been shocked. The Saints done won the Super Bowl.
No, I sat next to you during most of the game. You look a little worried during that first half.
Well, the first half was kind of rough because there was a whole lot of missed tackle. But they finally got their act together and start playing like a professional.
Right. Thank you. Had a good time here in Zulu tonight. Now back to you in the studio, Dennis, Angela.
Okay.
It was a little nerve-wracking, that first quarter especially.
Was
but
rough.
Toward the end of the second quarter, they got things together and things started, just started
They came
happening.
out of the locker room motivated.
I'm telling you, hearts are racing though all over the place. We're going to go now to Lucy Bustamante in Florida at Fort Lauderdale at the Shuck and Dive Bar, a favorite hangout for Hoodats who have taken over that area. Is that right, Lucy?
People cannot be in New Orleans, and to them, this is the next best place to be. It was almost like a New Year's celebration for them. The second that the interception happened, people just started crumbling, crying, hugging a stranger. Go ahead, this is all yours, guys. Go. Hoodat, 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 hoodat. We're going to show you what it was like at the beginning of the day when all the Hoodats arrived. Take a look.
Danny Stasi planned and they showed up, dressed for an event they have never experienced, yet always knew would come.
The Houdat Nation is here. We come here, it took a long time, 44 years, why not?
Today is Super Bowl 44, and the owner of Shuck and Dive in Fort Lauderdale gave the locals a place that felt just like home for those who wanted to follow the Saints to Florida.
It's awesome. I mean, it's like New Orleans in Florida. It's incredible.
He had an oyster shucking station to keep them entertained, while half a ton of crawfish boiled. Anything New Orleans goes here.
I think the Saints fans are the best fans ever. I mean, look at us. We're all out here. You don't see Colts fans representing like we are. It's just not happening anywhere.
Who that fan gonna beat them Saints? Who that? Who that?
Nothing like celebrating the...
We played for so much more than just ourselves. We played for our city. We played for the entire Gulf Coast region. We played for all the entire Houdat Nation who was behind us, every step of the way. And what can I say? We've been blessed with so much, and just to have this opportunity is unbelievable. Yeah, absolutely. That's probably a good comparison, a good parallel. We've had plenty of games this year where we've gone down at some point in the game, early, fourth quarter, whatever it might be, and you just continue to believe that you're going to find a way to win. And sure enough, we trusted in one another. Offense got it going. Had some big possessions there in the second half. Neither team got a whole lot of possessions just because we both possessed the ball a lot, converting first downs. Not a lot of big plays were given up in this game because both defenses do a good job of that. And so, really, we knew that we were going to have to move the ball, take advantage of the opportunities that we were given, but really be patient and just kind of take what they give us and move the ball and score points when we get the opportunity. Getting stopped on fourth down there in the second quarter was tough, but then defense got it right back for us. We at least had an opportunity at a 2-minute drive to go down and get some points to gain some momentum going into halftime. Absolutely. Are you kidding me? I mean, 4 years ago, whoever thought this would be happening? When 85% of a city was underwater, all of its residents evacuated to places all over the country. You know, most people not knowing if New Orleans would ever come back or if the organization of the team would ever come back. But not only did the organization come back and the city come back, and so many players that are our core group of players came in that year as free agents, and we just all looked at one another and said, you know, we're going to rebuild together. You know, we're going to lean on each other. And that's what we've done here for the last 4 years, and this is the culmination of all that belief and that faith. Listen, we've got, our head coach is unbelievable now. You know, not only as an offensive guru, you know, a guy who is a great play caller, an aggressive play caller, a confident play caller, and a guy who can instill all of those traits into his players, but just as a coach who has to manage so much, you know, and does it with class and is very fair. But, you know, there's nobody that I wanted to win this championship for more than Sean Payton. And the opportunity that he gave me to be there, as well as gave a lot of other guys to be there. But just because of, I know how much he has invested and how much, just all the little things that don't go unnoticed for a guy like me who's been around now for 9 years and been with some great coaches and been with some great players, but there's none better than him. And, you know, the type of, not only coach he is, but the type of person he is, the type of family man he is, and just what he instills in all of his players. He makes us better players, but he also makes us better men. Like I said before, you know, I felt like coming.
Welcome to Sun Life Stadium, where the Saints are the Super Bowl champions. I'm with linebacker Scott Shanle. How's it look?
It looks great. It looks great. I look up there, see the score, Super Bowl champions with the Saints logo by it. A lot of people never thought they'd see the day. It's here.
But this team, you guys in that locker room, you believed.
Absolutely, we believed. You know, all the way back in April and May when we were just getting together as a team, you could sense there was a chemistry on this team that was built to win a championship. And we came together, all the guys care about each other so much, and nobody cares about who gets the credit. We just want to win, and we're world champions.
Defense certainly played a huge role in the second half. Went into the locker room at halftime down, went into the fourth quarter down 17-16. Tracy Porter, huge pick against the Vikings. Unbelievable pick tonight.
It was a great play by Tracy. All week we listened to how it wasn't a matter of how close it was going to be. I mean, it was a matter of how much Indy was going to beat us. And as a defensive player, you put that chip on your shoulder and you bring it into the game. We've done it all year. Guys have stepped up and made plays when they've had to make them. And it was a great play by Tracy at a key time in the game.
I thank the fans that are still in this stadium who just don't want to leave. You must feel for what they've been through.
I do feel. I mean, last August, we had our team luncheon, and I said, you know, if there's any city or organization that deserves a world championship, nobody deserves it more than New Orleans. And the support they've given us throughout the year, they're going to have to kick them out of the stadium, I think, because they're not going to want to leave. We don't want this night to end either, but, you know, Tuesday, I'm sure, when we have that parade and we have that Lombardi Trophy with us, there's going to be a lot of people out there.
You know, once a gambler, always a gambler, and quite frankly, your head coach is just a gambler. Goes for it on fourth down, inside the 2, didn't make it, didn't hesitate one bit to pull off the onside kick. How did you feel that changed momentum?
Well, he told us at halftime we were going to do it. Guys were excited. It's been our MO all year. We're aggressive offensively, defensively, special teams. And that's just who we are. We're aggressive. We're willing to take chances. And it turned out tonight it helped us win a world championship.
Did you feel it changed the momentum?
Absolutely. It changed the whole dynamic of the game. Instead of us going out there defensively, their offense getting out on the field, our offense trots out there, gets 7 points, changes the whole complexion of the game.
How will you celebrate tonight?
I'm going to get back to the hotel, celebrate with my family. We're going to have a huge reception, family and friends. And, you know, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of memories talking about what went on this year. And just a lot of guys that are thankful for having one another there with them all year.
Scott Shanle, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well done.
Thanks.
Go ahead. Go be with your team. Scott Shanle again.
Oh, I mean, that's crucial.
Is what we worked so hard for, and it's hard to describe the feeling. But I couldn't be more proud of our players, everybody in the front office, coaches, and all the people back in New Orleans that waited so patiently for one of these. I know I speak for everyone to say that we're excited to deliver, and I'm sure they're having a good time on Bourbon Street tonight. I thought our preparation during the week was good. I thought the second half was key. Guys hung in there. We made enough plays and came up with a big win, and it was a good team effort. Well, you know, we were down there close in the second quarter, and we had talked about being aggressive coming into this game. You know, credit Indianapolis, they had a good stand there on fourth down, and, you know, fortunately we were able to hold them and force them to punt. We were able to come back and get the field goal before the end of half. In fact, the last play of the half. You know, all week we'd practiced that onside kick, and, you know, at halftime I just told those guys, you know, you got to make me look right here. It was a good hit by Thomas. You know, our guys did a good job of showing a normal kickoff covered look, but it was something that we had seen and practiced all week. You know, you get a little nervous. There's a lot going on the week of the Super Bowl, and the key was, you know, the kicker. Thomas hit it good. You know, guys recovered, and we were able to take advantage of it and get 7 points, and that really becomes like a turnover. We made it. You know, we knew we were going to call it at some point, and we made the decision we were going to do it at halftime. I just told them, hey, we're going to open up the second half with this. Let's go make a play. And then, you know, we have enough time at halftime with the schedule where we were able to put together another set of openers. You know, guys handled them well. Brees was magnificent tonight. He just played so well, so efficient. I thought we blocked him pretty good. Gave him time. We had the one sack, but this is pretty strong right here. Can't describe how it feels. I think you know, I just think it's important that you know, certainly you have a plan, you're careful, and yet you're going to be you want to show your players you're confident. You know, all week long we felt you know, we really felt as underdogs we had the better team. You know, and we don't really look at who's favored or who's not, but we really, as a coach, felt, you know, to be in that position, maybe where a lot of people were picking against us, and you know, we felt we liked the spot we were in, and I thought they handled it well all week long. The practice schedules and all the other things that come up, and a lot was made of their inexperience, but I thought we handled it fantastic. Well, yeah, listen, you know, there's a lot of grit, a lot of determination with the people in that city and that region, and, you know, they fought so hard, and this is what makes it uniquely different. And we've been down at other times this year. You know, we got a lot of poise, quarterback and defense. You know, we came up with some key stops in the second half, and those proved pivotal. Well, just happy. You know, this is what you work so hard for, and this is a team, an organizational trophy that represents so much tradition, and you know, we're honored, and certainly I'm honored to be a part of it, and real proud of these guys. Well, the time of possession was going to be important. You know, and what we were trying to do is create an additional series, which we were able to do, and, you know, our guys did a good job executing the play, but certainly you want to minimize his snaps, and, you know, we were able to do that to some degree, but he's a heck of a player. Well, I think I know not only the city, but the whole region's going to appreciate this trophy, and I just wish we could split it up to a lot of little pieces to give to everybody, but they're a part of it, and like I said, I'm happy to be part of it as well. I just did. Pardon? I thought Drew was magnificent tonight, you know, and certainly it's a part, he's talked all year, it's a part of the resume and the career of a quarterback, a great player. And he prepared outstanding, and, you know, he knew he was going to have to play well. He handled a lot of the offense at the line of scrimmage. We had a lot of multiple packages, and we had time to do that. He handled it extremely well. And when you look at his location tonight, you know, I thought he was fantastic, and he has been all year. You know, if you really pay close attention to what he's accomplished, he's the MVP tonight, and certainly one of the most valuable players in our league. I can't hear you. Well, I think our league, you know, is full of players, coaches. You know, all of us come from all different programs, size schools. You know, I've just been fortunate to be around a lot of good people to teach me how to win, and you know, I feel privileged really to have had experience to be at a lot of good places and a lot of people that that touch these players' lives. You know, it makes them happy tonight, and certainly the people that were able to touch my life. Come on, Peter. We felt during the week it was more than 60-70% chance of recovery based on the look. We felt real, not good, we felt real good, to the point where we had actually talked about it with the officials, and they said, well, you know, if you do it, what's it going to look like? And I said, it's not if, we're gonna. It's going to be from a balanced look and our normal kick approach. And you know, Thomas did a great job. It's something we spent some time on last week and practiced it a little this week. You get a little nervous when you practice something like that, you know, the week of the Super Bowl with everyone that's at practice. But the execution was good. It was great. They made me look good. I was in on the scrum. No, our guys did a good job in getting on it and falling on it, and Chris Reese did a great job. Clearly came up with it.
You know, from day one, you know, I knew we had something special here. When I first got here, you know, when I was drafted here, and you know, I first took my tour of New Orleans and I saw all the destruction. I knew that we could be part of something bigger than football. And you know, I think today was about that. It was about the rebuilding process of New Orleans. It was about the Saints. It was about the city of New Orleans, the people, the lives lost in Hurricane Katrina, and you know, now New Orleans can exhale a little bit.
Does it make it more special to you than the wins at USC?
I think it makes us more special because in the fashion that we did it and the city that we did it for. Like I said, they're a city that was pretty much destroyed in a hurricane, and you know, they need something to be proud of. You know what? And through all the 30, 40 years plus of terrible seasons, you know, here in New Orleans, now they can exhale. Now they can be proud of the Saints.
What's your message to them back home? What message do you get back to people?
You know what? We love you guys. We love the city of New Orleans. And we're going to go back home and celebrate, bring the Lombardi Trophy. We're going to party like we're supposed to.
You've been around New Orleans for a few Mardi Gras now.
Yeah.
Is this Super Bowl celebration going to supersede any Mardi Gras they've ever
I'm sure it will. I'm sure it's going to be the craziest Mardi Gras, but as it should be. You know, it's well-deserved. The city of New Orleans deserves it. And, you know, nobody can ever take this away from us. We're part of history. And it's not just us, not just the Saints. It's the city of New Orleans. We're all a part of history.
For those of us who will never get to hoist that Lombardi Trophy, what does it feel like to hoist that beautiful trophy?
It feels great. You know what? This is what I dreamed of. You know, literally had dreams of hosting that trophy up someday. You know, like I said, once I first got here, I knew it would come someday. And when it happened, it was special, but I wasn't surprised because I knew it was going to come. You know, this is a team of fate, of destiny. You know, God had a bigger plan than all of us. You know, a plan that we couldn't see 3-4 years ago, you know. And, you know, here we are, and it's special. You know, I told Hargrove before the game, the that God has blessed him because of where he was at, a year ago, and to be where he is now. I told him just take it all in, man, because God has definitely blessed him, and God had a plan for him, and something he couldn't see, last year, and that's what it's all about. It's all about making dreams come true.
Was this greater than the national championship victory? Was this greater than the high school, all those things you've done in the past?
This is definitely greater than that because, like I said earlier, because of what the city of New Orleans had to go through in Hurricane Katrina and all the lives lost and all the destruction and people who moved away. This is what it's all about. It's part of the rebuilding process, and I truly believe that. Now the city of New Orleans can exhale a little bit, and we're good. But it's not the job is not done yet. We won the Lombardi Trophy, and we're bringing the trophy home, but the job isn't done yet. There's so much more that's needed down there, and we're just so happy to be a part of history and be happy to be a part of this because this is history right here.
Did the people of New Orleans make you stronger as a team? I know it's an abstract question.
Yeah.
Is it possible?
They definitely have a place in all of our hearts, and I would say they definitely, are there with us when we're on the football field. Every time we take the field, they're right there with us. And, I could definitely agree with that statement that, they make us stronger. We've fought through some tough times, in these past 4 years. We went to the NFC Championship game our rookie year. We lost to Chicago Bears. We were, a half away from, playing the Colts for the first time in the Super Bowl. And, then the next year to lose 4 games straight and then to come back and win 4 games. Like I said, we've just been through some tough times. And it feels great, man. I appreciate it so much more because of the workload it took to get here.
What would you say if you had a
We didn't, even though Payton's an explosive.
A very, very happy Reggie Bush, who had a tremendous game. And it was so interesting listening to Sean Payton. I don't know if you got to see Juan Kincaid's wonderful series that he did about Sean Payton growing up.
Mm-hmm.
But he went to his friends, and they could tell the leadership back then in high school.
Yeah.
And for that man to cry up there at that moment, so meaningful.
Very emotional for the whole area.
Oh.
And they talk about doing this for the community and how it helps the recovery. And I think a lot of people, everyone here feels that. I mean,
we do
really
feel
is.
that.
And Sean Payton talked about the poise, the poise of Drew Brees and the other members of the team. This team has poise and class, and they never did give up. They never stopped believing. And that was the difference in this team, from what I could see.
When he said grit and determination,
right.
He's talking about the team, and he's also talking about the community.
That's exactly
We
right.
have grit and we have determination.
And we'll be back with more in just a moment.
Thank you very much, Dennis and Angela, with Governor Bobby Jindal. And, a victory does a lot of things, and certainly one of the things on your mind is how we're going to get kids to school tomorrow.
Absolutely. I got young kids. I know they're not sleeping. I know they're watching TV. But, yes, they got to go to school tomorrow. That's my 3 little kids at home. But what a great victory tonight. Our first Super Bowl victory shows the world that New Orleans and Louisiana are coming back better than before. So proud of this team. I was predicting a 10-point victory. They got it done by 14. Everybody thought I was crazy. They all said, no, it'll be 3 or 4 points. What a great team. And you know what's great? They're great off the field as well as on the field. I had a chance to talk to Drew Brees and his wife after the game, and I told them we were so grateful. They are such great ambassadors for Louisiana. They're involved in rebuilding. They're involved in charitable work. I made one request. I said, build your retirement home in Louisiana. I want you to stay here. I want you to grow old. I don't want you to even think about leaving our state.
Did you have any bets with any other politicians on the other side?
Absolutely did. I'm glad that you asked that. The governor of Indiana, who's actually at the game, I saw him right before the game, right here at the middle of the field. We actually met and visited for a while. We bet him last week. I said, when we beat the Indianapolis Colts, we're going to be sending him a Who Dat Nation flag. They've got to fly that in Indiana. He can fly it over the Capitol. He can fly it over the mansion. He can fly it over his state car. But they got to fly it, and they got to send us a picture. It's going to be a Who Dat Nation flag sent up to Indiana so they can fly that flag, showing the Who Dat Nation prevails in 50 states across this country.
The key is now, from your side, how do you capitalize? Certainly there was a lot of worldwide attention. We were in the parking lot today, trailer after trailer, England, Australia. How does Louisiana capitalize on this victory?
I want to thank the Saints organization. They have been great about this. The Department of Economic Development has worked with them. You've got media from all over the world here. Every single one of them got an economic development packet showing how Louisiana's changing. Cut taxes, revamped ethics. All these people taking notice of New Orleans and Louisiana because of the Saints will now have a chance to also see that it's a great place to do business, a great place to live. For 3 years in a row, we've had more people come into Louisiana more quickly than they left. First time in 20 years. We can build on that momentum. The Saints story shows we persevered. Overcame 4 hurricanes, overcame the national recession, and that is a great opportunity to get companies to take a second look. Companies that may not have thought of Louisiana before. We've had 2 great economic years compared to the rest of the country, but this gives us one more chance. And I do want to thank the Saints organization. They helped us get that economic development message to every media organization that was here, national and international.
Governor, go enjoy.
Congratulations.
Thank you for your time.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Governor Bobby Jindal. Certainly, if you had to pick places to be tonight, this would be number 1. New Orleans would be number 2. And maybe a bar in Fort Lauderdale called Shuck and Dive would be number 3. I've been there before, and my good friend Lucy Bustamante is there, and I can't imagine what kind of night it is over there, Lucy.
Oh, Mike, you need to be here. Somebody wants to tell you hi over here.
Hey, Mike! Hey, Mike! Hey, Mike! You got your trunk on?
That is Danny Stasi, the man who made Fort Lauderdale into an extension of New Orleans. Take a look at the scene here. This is the amount of people left over after about 500 people plus were here tonight. And I need to show you something very special. Do you remember Jim Henderson said that the Saints will win the Super Bowl when the pigs fly? There's the pig flying for you. And everyone here decided to name the crawfish that survived.
That's the last one. Who dat?
Who dat the crawfish? I am now wearing a Who Dat cap thanks to the Trish family because of the champagne that they broke and started to spray all over the crowd. There we go. What do you have here? This is the turf we won on, right here. Right here, turf we won on. A piece of the turf. Like you said, if you cannot be home, you might as well be here. Back to you.
We're going to go all out in this game. Try the onside kick at the beginning of the third quarter. It's the
Wow. I knew it would be fun out there, and they are having a good time in Fort Lauderdale as they are here. We're in Miami Gardens. We're somewhat between Miami and Fort Lauderdale, but the party is just beginning, and I can assure you we'll be covering it throughout the night. If that's what we have to do, then we have to cover the party throughout the night.
Heck yes, we'll just do it.
You know, you have to have lived through the 3 and 13s, the 7 and 9s, the 6 and 10s to appreciate it. Again, how do you feel?
I feel drained. I feel numb. I feel just so content and so happy for the people of New Orleans and all the people down through the years that followed this team in all the bad times, to be rewarded like this, to think that in 2005 we went through the very worst of times, and 4.5 years later we're going through the very best of times, and maybe they feel better because we went through such horrible times in 2005.
I didn't recall that football was this emotional. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where, I mean, tears and celebration, and you feel for someone else's celebration. It didn't always be this way.
I know, and I still can't wrap my arms around it. I think Katrina had a lot to do with it, and I think obviously the Saints' lack of success down through the years, but I've heard so many people say, I wish I could share this with my father. I wish I could have shared this with my grandfather. It's a special time.
Let's talk a little football, because certainly the first quarter was exactly the way the Colts had scripted it. Peyton had, and the Colts had 8 first downs. They had none in the second quarter, as you felt this defense got its feet underneath them.
Yeah, I think early in the game, it looked like the Saints had some opening night jitters. The Colts just moved the ball down the field, Peyton pushing all the right buttons. But you really got to give Garrett Hartley a lot of credit. You know, the field goals that he made, any one of which, if he missed them, would have really taken a lot of momentum away from this team. But he kicks that 46 and 44-yarder in the second quarter, and which the Saints pretty much reversed the statistics of the first quarter that the Colts dominated. And even though they trail going into halftime 10-6, I would think the message at in the halftime locker room is, hey, look, we're right in this thing. We've only scored 6 points. We're going to score a lot more than that with this offense, and we're within striking distance. And then the call, never having attempted an onside kick since 2006 in that game against Dallas that the Saints won in Dallas, when Billy Cundiff was the onside kicker, and Jay Bellamy recovered. To pull that out of the hat and make it work to begin the third quarter just showed the way that Sean Payton and this team has always played. Pedal to the metal. They're not going to play with any sort of short stick when the pressure's on. They're going to play as the aggressor, and they did, and that pretty much set the tone for the second half.
Especially when you consider that he had just gone for it on 4th down inside the 2 and didn't make it. You talk about a gamble that paid off big. Had it not paid off, wow. I mean, as I've talked to players tonight, once a gambler, always a gambler.
Yep, and that's the way he has played the game. And I mean, everybody had a chance to second guess those calls. The Saints very seldom run the ball on 3rd and goal. I think the statistics we had up in the booth is they've thrown the ball on 3rd and goal like 84% of the time. They go down there and run it 3 times and don't get in. The footing's a little treacherous. The Colts have a lot of speed and can flow to the football whenever you run wide. And all of a sudden it looks like, boy, that really could have cost us the game. But instead it just reinforced the fact that the Saints were going to play to win. And that's exactly what they did from that point on. Not all the gambles worked, that one didn't, but certainly the onside kick did, and all the other buttons that Sean Payton pushed in the second half pretty much did as well. I'm just so happy for this organization and so happy for these fans that have waited 44 years for this.
And you can still see them. I don't know, Bob, if you have even the opportunity. I mean, they used to be in this corner. Now just look at them. You can take a peek back there. They just... Reminds me of Philadelphia when they won a couple of years ago. They just don't want to leave. They want to savor this, as you say, 43 years. Until somebody says, get out of the stadium, they're not leaving.
Or get out of the French Quarter or go home. And I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon either. These people deserve it so much. I mean, I wasn't in the stands. You were on the sideline. I was up in the booth. But I would have to imagine it almost felt like a home game to the Saints. The support for the Saints here was maybe 10-1 as far as the support for the Colts. They were so loud, the Houdat cheers and pregame warm-ups. I don't think you can give enough credit to these fans, how they have pushed this team to the brink and beyond.
I'm not saying, but I'm just saying when it was 10-0, Saints kicked a field goal to make it 10-3, and something I didn't think I'd hear in a Super Bowl of an objective game was they played crunk.
Yes.
They played the halftime song Crunk when it was 10-3, and I said, uh-oh, and things changed from that point. So that song got a little magic in it.
I heard that too, and you heard Mardi Gras music and stuff in here. Whoever controlled the buttons to decide what music was to be played might have been from the 9th Ward.
Very well, very well. Doug Mouton has been talking with some Saints fans, victorious Saints fans. He joins us now with more. Doug?
Still celebrating inside Dolphin Stadium. You don't even have to cue them. How good does this feel?
Great. I lived on Audubon Street in this Tulane Stadium. I remember the first kickoff. This is unbelievable.
Tracy Porter picks off that ball. Come on. What is happening?
They like it did in October. They like it did in October. He took the ball one time down. We got season tickets for 22 years. We got season tickets for 22 years. And we love this game, baby. We love this game. 22 years.
Y'all remember this? No more! No more! No more!
Hey, Hartley! We love you, Hartley. We love you, Hartley.
It's this kind of night. The Houdats are going to be celebrating for a long time. Inside Dolphin Stadium, Doug Mouton. Eyewitness News, Super Bowl 44. Come on, dog. Fucking right, dog.
And back with Channel 4 Sports Director Jim Henderson, voice of the Saints. Will there be a memorable pigs flying call that comes out of this one?
Well, since it was pretty much decided when the Saints went out to that 14-point lead, I think I said at the end of it, get ready to party with the Lombardi, New Orleans, because
I like that.
You are the world champions of professional football. The Miami Miracle, but not quite. Didn't have quite the zing that last week's NFC Championship game did, because again, once they got out to that 14-point lead, you pretty much thought it was going to happen, and it did, and it was just tears all around up in the booth, tears all around in the stands. I mean, CBS had a great shot after they scored with the interception by Porter. 3 minutes and 5 seconds left in the game, and they had shots of Saints fans crying up in the stands. So a lot of catharsis, a lot of relief, and a lot of relieved Saints fans, broadcasters, and media types.
We talked. You mentioned the Tracy Porter interception. You think about the last few weeks that guy's had. Steps in front of the Brett Favre pass that solidifies even the trip here, and it's almost a similar type play where he steps in front, makes on the inside route, and just gone.
Yeah, you know, you kept waiting for the Saints to do what they do, and that's get a turnover and hope that they could make the Colts do what they don't do, and that's turn the ball over. Only one turnover in the game, and while it didn't decide it, it certainly put it away. You know, Tracy Porter had a touchdown on this very same field against Miami.
Oh, yes.
They brought him back, I think he had 4 interceptions on the season, and one of them came back right here for a touchdown against the Dolphins. So there's so much symmetry to this season, and so many things came together in what was a perfect storm for New Orleans.
All right, Jim, thank you very much. We're going to bring in Greg McMahon, who's sitting right here. Jim, here, you do this one, Jim.
Come on. Okay.
Hey, Coach.
Come on in.
Have a seat.
Congratulations to you.
Congratulations. How great
Congratulations.
is this? Let me get to, hey, that's quiet. My job is to make sure you can get to the seat.
Are we still going here? Yes, we are. Okay. Greg McMahon is a good friend of mine and a guy who is the special teams coach. Let's talk about the decision that you made at halftime for the onsides kick.
That was Coach Payton. We knew we had a look, and the look was there, but that's Coach's call. I mean, Coach, he said at halftime, he said, "Hey, we're going to run this onside kick, and let's execute it." And Morstead, what a great kick! And then Chris Reese going in there and getting it, Casillas and battling, and guys came up with the ball in a key situation. But I mean, that's Coach Payton all the way. It really is.
When you said the look was there, was that something you discovered prior to this game, or that you discovered during it?
No, we just saw him bail a little early and felt like that. Morstead could execute that kick. I mean, it really comes down to the kick, and he's really good with it. And we just felt like, hey, we got a great look. And so we saw in the first kick, we felt like he was bound a little bit, so we decided to call it, and it worked.
And it occurred in front of your bench. Were you pretty sure Chris Reese had come up with it?
There's no question. And Casillas sure went in there and battled, and it really didn't even need to come to that because we had executed it pretty well. But you know how it is when you get in those scrums, man. It's every man for himself, and it's just the mark of our team, man. It's just a bunch of great guys, and they battle together, and they were going to come out without that ball.
Let's talk about a kid who is one of the great stories of this year, Garrett Hartley.
Yeah.
He wins the game against Minnesota. Tonight he hits from 46, 44, and 47. Those 2 field goals in the second quarter keep you in it.
He just great job. And I think we need to acknowledge John Carney. I mean, John, when John became our consultant, and he's such a mentor for Garrett and Jason Kyle, Mark Brunell. So that group of leadership and veteran players really brought him along, and he's a talented player, and he's just really happy for him.
I saw John Carney outside the locker room before the game, and he came over and he said, about 10 o'clock tonight, you better watch out because there are going to be pigs flying over this stadium.
Did John say that?
He did say that.
Well,
and
hey.
he's so calm. That must have really helped Garrett come back off the suspension and become the kicker he was.
That's John, though. I mean, John's always been like that, whether he's the kicker and that's a rookie in training camp, or if it's John becomes a consultant, and he's just such a character guy, and it's been good for Garrett. And hey, Garrett's battled through, and man, what a great game for him, huh?
What was the feeling like in the locker room? What was the feeling along the sideline after Tracy scored on the interception and it looked like you guys, with over 3 minutes left, were going to win the first Super Bowl in franchise history?
It was real easy because the guys were all yelling, "Hey, the game's way from over. They got 18." So we know when you play against a team like the Colts and Peyton Manning, it's not over until it says 0-0-0, and that's the truth. I mean, our guys were really focused, and they were not going to let up until that sucker ran out of time.
One last question. So many people made mention of the fact the Colts were here 3 Super Bowls ago.
Right.
You guys had not been here. What was the most difficult thing to handle this week, or was anything difficult for this team in its first Super Bowl?
I think Coach Payton's experience of being here already, he's just I'm biased, but he's just a tremendous leader, and he's a great communicator, and he just kind of just laid the groundwork. Hey, here's how we're going to handle the distraction before we leave. When we get there, here's some things you got to look out for. Pre-game's going to be this. Halftime's going to be this. And it happens before your eyes. I mean, I just think he's a great leader.
Greg McMahon, thank you so much. Congratulations, my friend.
Hey, world champs.
You are world champions. That's Greg McMahon, the special teams coach of this team. Now let's go back to the studio with Angela Hill. Angela?
Okay, thank you so much. What a thrill for each and every member of that staff.
Really tremendous, and everyone did a great job, obviously, and took chances, gambling, and making them pay off.
Absolutely, but I mean the skill sets they have, the work they do, all these years, all these hours, all these months, they did it.
And people, where were you, Maya, when you were watching this?
We were over at Rock and Bowl off of Carrollton and Earhart, and you don't really usually think about football going with bowling, but tonight anything's possible, so I guess everything works together. And they had about 100 people show up at the Super Bowl watch party, and it was absolutely incredible. Once the Saints won, though, in true New Orleans fashion, I hope we have video of this, they began second lining around the bowling alley. So there were so many fans there who told us they've been waiting for this for years, and as you can imagine, people were so emotional about this win. Here's what some of these fans had to say once that final score came up.
It's terrific. We got him. We finally did it.
You're crying. You're
Sure. Sure wish Buddy D could have seen this.
40 years! Yes! Woo, we did it! We did it! Yes! 40 years! Yes!
It's everything. It's building. It's rebuilding. We're going to a whole nother level. This team's the greatest. I love him. I love him. Love him. Love him. Love him.
I knew it. I knew we'd win. Our heart was with them, and our heart was with us. I knew we'd win.
The Saints are the best. I love the Saints. I wish I could go to Miami, but I couldn't. But I watched it on TV. I've been waiting on this for a long, long time. Now I got it out. Everybody are happy that the Saints has won.
We're so proud of New Orleans. We're so proud of the Gulf Coast. We're so proud of everybody here, and the fact that the Saints have helped rejuvenate, rebuild. It's lovely, and we're so excited.
Now, as you heard right there, this Saints win is not just about the team, but about so much more. The city, the region, everything people have gone through since 2005, and a win out there right now is just really lifting everyone's spirits.
All the difficulties after Katrina, people not being able to build their homes the way they wanted, not getting the money from insurance companies or whatever.
The fights they had to put up with.
Yeah,
yes.
This is like a triumph over all of that.
You know, Tom Benson, when he received the Lombardi trophy, said, this, of course, is for the whole area, for the whole state. But what we're telling America is we're back.
And I think that message is heard loud and clear, because I know that people have been calling me and texting me from all over the country, friends of mine saying, wow, it must be great to be there. And it is. It's great to be here.
Mike Haas was saying he doesn't remember football being this emotional, but it is so emotional here tonight.
But it is more than the game.
Yeah,
it is so much more than that.
Game.
It's so much more than the team. It's more than the game. Again, it's just kind of a culmination of this whole journey since 2005 that we've all been going through here.
And I think people around the country picked up on that. I think a lot of people sort of rooted for the Saints because of that.
Yeah. Well, you know what tradition is? Bourbon Street, anytime
Party
there's a
Central.
celebration, and that's where Bigad Shaban is.
Dennis and Angelo, what's amazing about the crowd here is really you're only looking about what amounts to about a quarter of the crowd here on Bourbon Street. Way in the distance is Canal, but imagine a crowd about 2 times, even more, the size of this one that stretches all the way in the front of us, going all the way to the end of Bourbon to Esplane Avenue. It's just an amazing sight here, and a lot of people are joking tonight that hell must have frozen over, but with the bubbles just floating around Bourbon, it looks like it's more like snowing here. And it is just packed to the brim. Strangers hugging strangers, beads are flying. I think you saw some just go in front of our camera, and people are just so excited here. You know, I think in their heart of hearts, they knew it was coming, but still, I mean, just the surprise and really the enthusiasm that people are feeling right now about this win. And I think it just goes to show you that tonight's win is much more about the Saints. It's really about the city of New Orleans. And for so many people, this is just another sign of the recovery, the rebirth, and they're taking it all in. And this victory will not soon fade. And just the energy that you're feeling right now in the French Quarter is just unbelievable, guys. And the dancing and the celebrating continues again, really with strangers hugging strangers and friends and family rejoicing on what is just an amazing occasion here in the French Quarter. We'll send it back to you, Dennis and Angela.
All right, Bigad. We've seen big celebrations on Bourbon Street in the French Quarter, but this may be the biggest.
Absolutely the biggest, and I think it's going to go on for a very long time.
So too.
Maybe even to the wee hours of Monday.
We'll have more in just a moment.
Getting ready for the big game. Got football fever and our boys to blame. Say you, them Saints to blame.
Welcome back to Sun Life Stadium, visiting with the Pro Bowl right guard of the world champion New Orleans Saints. How does that sound, Jahri Evans?
Oh man, it sounds great. It's an awesome feeling.
The first quarter pretty much controlled by the Colts. You're behind 10-0, but no panic. You guys pretty much reversed things, although not totally on the scoreboard, but statistically in the second quarter you started rolling. What was the message on the sideline? What was the message in the huddle, Jahri?
Well, just to keep plugging away. You know, we started off slow the first quarter and the first half. You know, things wasn't going our way. We was coming up a little short on our third downs, and but you know, the defense did a great job of holding the Colts to 10 points, and we were able to get another field goal when Drew let us down there right before half after we failed them 2 times on the 4th and 1, which was pretty bad. But, you know, we hung in there in the second half. We came out and did our job.
Coach Payton kind of set the tone going for it on 4th down there, and even though it didn't happen, he never plays with a short stick. At times of pressure, at times in the big game, he's always going to be aggressive as a play caller, isn't he?
Oh yeah, and you want that in a coach, and you know, I love it in Coach Payton that he's going to be aggressive and he trusts us and believe in us to go do it, and you know, I think our teammates like it as well, and he showed that, you know, his tenacity coming out there the second half and going for that onside kick.
Way back in the dog days of summer in Metairie, when you're preparing for the season, did you ever envision this? When, perhaps in the course of it, did you think, you know, there might be something special here?
Man, you know what? When I first came to New Orleans, we were 1 game away from this big game. And, you know, I knew that we had something special going on with those group of guys that we had in 06 and the coaches and you know, the staff did a great job of just putting this team together. And 4 years later, we're winning the big game. So, you know, it's awesome, you know. And, you know, they just did a great job in the office and putting, you know, a good group of guys together. And here we are, Super Bowl champions.
Drew Brees is the MVP, 32 completions, ties a Super Bowl record. How have you seen him grown during your time with him?
Man, I mean, I never seen nobody work as hard as that guy, on and off the field. I mean, he's the first guy in the building and the last guy to leave. And, you know, he deserves everything he gets. You know, he works so hard for it, and it shows on the field. You know, he's a general out there. He leads us, you know, out there on the field, and it just shows in his play.
How many people from Bloomsburg have you heard from during this run?
Oh, man, a whole lot of people. All the guys I played with in college, coaches, teachers, professors, guys I played high school ball with, you know, a lot of people.
Do you have to pinch yourself somewhat to see how far you've come from Bloomsburg to Pro Bowl right guard to world champion in, what, the space of 4 years, is it?
Yeah, it's my 4th year. Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, it feels great. I mean, to come from Frankfort High School in Philadelphia and go to Division II school in Bloomsburg and to be drafted by New Orleans Saints in the 4th round, and here I am winning the Super Bowl in my 4th year. It's awesome.
Is it as good as you expected it to be, or has it not sunk in yet?
It hasn't really sunk in yet, but you know, I'm pretty sure it will pretty soon. Probably when I get back to New Orleans and see all the fans and, you know, do Mardi Gras and stuff like that, it'll really just, you know, probably hit me all at once.
You've been a resident of New Orleans for a fairly short time, but how much does the support of these fans mean to this team? Because in many ways this must have felt almost like a home game tonight, given the support that you had.
Yeah, I mean, it means a lot. You know, the fans are our 12th man. They've been traveling with us all year long, whether it be, you know, away games, I mean, you know, in the dome especially, you know, the crowd noise, and even here today, you saw it, man. They was rocking, and you know, and it really, we feed off that energy, and we love it.
What was it like on the sideline when Tracy Porter intercepted that pass right about where we are and started running up the sideline?
Man, it was a great feeling. It was a great feeling because we were rolling the second half, and to see him pick it off, it was awesome to just see him even, you know, those guys block for him and see him get in the end zone, and it was an awesome feeling.
How confident were you before this game? Even though you were underdogs, I think people that were Saints fans were fairly confident that you were going to win this game. Was there any sort of talk? You know, let me ask you a different question, though, in that, you know, lots of times Sean Payton, Drew has said, we'll give you one message, and that's what you carry into a game. There's so much information and so much preparation, and so the playbook is so thick that he gives you one message. Can you put your finger on any one message he gave you before this game that he told you that this is how you'll win it?
Be physical. Go out there, be physical, execute the plays, and have fun. You know, seize the second. That's what we've been, talking about all year long, taking advantage of opportunities, and I think we did that today.
How will you celebrate tonight?
Oh, man. I'll celebrate with the guys and my family and my friends, and it'll be a great night tonight.
How many tickets did you have to get for this?
I used all 15 of my tickets, so I kept them all.
A lot of people had said it's hard for first-time teams going into a Super Bowl to win because of all the distractions, because of the ticket thing, the family thing, the travel, all the fans around you in the hotel. But you guys seem to have handled it great. Where did that come from?
Well, we got a lot of great veteran leaders on our team, and just the coaches as well. They hit home with us and told us make sure we're pretty rested, drink plenty of fluids. You can party after the game. Once you win this game, nobody remembers the loser of the game. And they really hit home with us on that, and they kept us busy practicing and meetings and stuff like that. And our veteran leaders, stepped up, and we just followed the lead.
People said that the Colts defense, the Saints would have a hard time contending with the speed of the Colts defense.
Right.
It was your power perhaps against their speed on defense.
Right.
Were they a really fast defense?
Yeah, they are pretty fast. They move a lot, and you saw that in the linebacker play. Those linebackers hitting gaps in the running game, and those guys pinching down and enabling those linebackers to run. And they are a fast defense, and they rally to the ball well. And we knew if we protected enough time, gave Drew time to throw the ball, that he was going to do his thing, and the receivers got open, and that's what they did.
Jahri, thanks so much for stopping by.
Thank you.
Congratulations on a great year.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
For being a Pro Bowl performer as the right guard for the NFC, and for the world champion New Orleans Saints. What a great young tandem they have now in Carl Nicks and Jahri Evans. Angela, back.